Hey guys, today's video is all about behind the scenes of my latest cover reveal for The Stolen Kingdom. If you didn't see my last video all about the rebranding, I will pop that in the description box below so you can go check that out and learn a lot about the kind of the behind the scenes in the industry. But today we're doing behind the scenes on my book specifically. It is for this beautiful, beautiful cover, and I'm super excited to explain to you like the thought process behind my decision to rebrand and all the cool things that went into that. I want to talk about who I worked with, and spoiler, I saw a lot of cover designs from a lot of different people, and it was really, really unique and interesting and scary and complicated and freaky, and did I mention scary, and also really, really cool. I'm going to show you a lot of the designs that came in, and then I'm going to show you the one that I picked, but I'm going to show you the transition from like what it first was to the things that we removed and the things that we added and the things that we just tried and we're like, nah, it didn't work at all. But spoiler, a lot of it worked because it's gorgeous. And so I'm very, very excited, and I'm gonna actually pull up my computer and do a screen share because it's going to be a lot of fun visuals in this video where you get to see behind the scenes of designing a book cover, what goes into it, how do we make it fit our genre, which is crucial. Okay, before I take you over to my computer, let's really quick talk about why I specifically chose to rebrand, because I know in that last video I mentioned I did talk about why authors and publishers rebrand, like general reasons, but I have my own reasons. Obviously, it could be an hour-long video and chat with you guys, so I won't go into everything, but I do really want to explain the most important reason, which is that it turns out The Stolen Kingdom's original cover right there, and I'll pop it up on the screen here for you too, does not actually fit genre expectations. Now, before you say it, I'll say it. I should have learned my lesson with the Evelyn's Number. I know. I did the same thing with Evelyn's Number, where I had a cover, but it was not right for the genre. And you would think that I would learn, but here's the funny thing. I was not actually aware of this problem until about a month ago, not even, probably just a few weeks ago. I went into The Stolen Kingdom, the current cover, thinking that it was like perfect for the genre. It has the castles, and so many books in fantasy have castles. Like there's so many, right? It's perfect. Everything seemed great. And I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, everybody loves it. My sales are great. My sales kept getting better and better and better. And I thought that's a sign that it's great, right? Okay, here is where it gets really interesting. I was looking at my books page one day because I like to look at reviews. So I was scrolling down to the reviews, and I remembered that the covers in the also bought section caught my eye, and I stopped. And I remember looking at them, and I don't have them anymore. I have some of them that I took a picture of. I'll flash them on the screen here for you. So my top one, the first one that caught my eye was this one. And I was like, wait a second, that's an Aladdin retelling. And I know it. I don't need to read about it. I don't need to see anything. I just know by looking at this cover. And my mind immediately went, I don't think that's true for my covers currently for this book. It's got a fairy tale vibe. It's got a lot of, you know, the Stolen Kingdom, obviously there's kingdoms and there's the royalty vibe and stuff like that. So it's not that it's totally off genre, but it is not exactly in genre the way that this one was. It was just like in your face, this is an Aladdin retelling. So I remember looking at the other ones and they also bought, and I can't tell you what all of them were. I remember this one with the green dress was there, and it was like, okay, this is also very similar. There's kind of this arch frame thing going on, and there's a character-centric cover, meaning that the character is the focus. And I was like, okay, interesting, you know, like something's up here. So the next thing that I did is I actually went to the category. My book's main category is teen and young adult, fairy tale and folklore, adaptations. So it's retellings. That's another word for retellings. I started scrolling through the top 100 books, and I was like, okay, I'm sensing a theme here. There is definitely a very, very strong princess on the cover, very character-centric with the archway vibe. There's a little bit of a hint of magic in certain ones. You can see which books have magic. You can see which ones don't, with things like swirlies, as I call them. And at that point, I was moving pretty fast. I think it had only been maybe a few days or a week before I was talking to my friend Mandy, who does cover design, and I was like, Mandy, what's going on? Help me. And so she and I had a sit down chat, and she was like, she was kind of walking me through it, and she's like, yeah, I see what you're saying. And we talked through the options, and she's like, so you're saying you want to do a rebrand? And she kept asking all these questions, and I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. And I just kept saying, like, she probably was frustrated with me because she'd ask really good questions, and I'd be like, I don't know. I have no idea. Fast forward to, I think it was just the next day, where I emailed Mandy. It was probably the middle of the night because I tend to make big decisions late at night when I can't stop thinking about them. And I was like, I'm doing it. I think this has to be done. I'm gonna do it. And so she sent me an invoice and we booked it, and we were like, let's go. And she was super excited about it. I was super excited about it. Then poor Mandy, I feel so bad for her. She went through a ton of stuff. She had her hard drive crash with her entire book on it. She had all her files for her covers, for her like current designs just wiped out. She had to redo them. She had, what else? Like all these pictures lost, all these marketing things lost, all her books lost. And it was like, oh my gosh. And then she had car troubles. And so I'm like, I want to ask. I want to do it right now. I really want to, but I also don't want to pressure her because she's got a lot going on. And when she asked me, she's like, is it okay if we put this off a little bit? I was like, absolutely, totally understand. I do not want you to focus on this right now. Like, obviously she had a lot going on with her clients. She'd already promised covers by a deadline, and her book was coming up with a deadline and all this stuff. So I was like, don't worry about it at all. I promise you, I'm totally fine. Then I went on to not be able to stop thinking about it. I feel like this plant behind me is giving me like a weird hairdo right now. I'm gonna move you guys. Anyway, Mandy and I chatted sometime in January. I'm really bad with dates, so I know it was a few weeks ago, and I was like, I'll put it on hold, it'll be fine. But my gut was just like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And every day I could not stop thinking about it. I was like, I think I need to do this. And I just felt like in my gut, like every day that I don't make my book more clear to readers, I'm losing readers. So there's so many people who would want to read my story who don't realize that it's for them, who don't realize what it's about. And I just feel like, I was like, I'm losing readers, I'm losing opportunities. So yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then I watched a video by Jenna Moresi where she talked about 99 designs, and it was like a giveaway. And I was like, I'll enter it, maybe I'll win. And I didn't win. And then I watched other people who, some of them weren't even in the author space, like Vanessa Lau talked about 99 designs, and she had a coupon. And I was like, I'll just see what this whole 99 designs is about, because I know they do covers, but I don't know anything about them. So I clicked on the like coupon link to just check it out, right? As if I ever just check something out. And so I'm scoping out the website. And the first thing that I learned about 99 designs is that it's a competition. It's actually like a contest. So for what I understood at the time, I thought that it was no commitment, and it was more you could just see what people do. And I was like, well, maybe this will finally satisfy my giant craving for knowing what it would look like and knowing if it's the right move. So I just, middle of the night, again, when I have something that's bugging me and I can't sleep, I make some crazy decisions, okay? And so I'm glad that I made it, but at the time I was like, this is probably stupid. And so I put together a contest. So what they do on 99 Designs, and they do all kinds of graphics, but for book covers and probably the other graphics, they have you do what they call a brief, and you fill out stuff about you, stuff about your project. You include pictures with your vision for the project. So I included tons of young adult covers and tons of covers in my genre that I was like, this is my vision. I want a rebrand that is going to be even better than my current cover, that's going to be even clearer what the genre is, and it's going to seamlessly blend in with all the other covers. And so that is a lofty goal. And then I pressed start. I went for it, and the cover started pouring in, and I was absolutely panicking. I was freaking out. Like at first nothing came in, and so that was probably the worst part, where I was like, you know, I was like, they promised 60 designs or more and I'm getting 0. But there was this comforting little graphic that said something like, don't worry, the best designs are the ones that tend to come in at the end of the contest. So I was like, okay, sure. Sure, if you say so. And so I still was freaking out, obviously. And then when they started to come in and they weren't a good fit, I was like, I have made the worst possible decision ever. I was trying to keep it on the down low, but I was like, I gotta talk to somebody, and my hubby doesn't get it. So I was like, I'm gonna text my CPs. So I talked to Brittany and Jesse and Mandy, and they all had like differing opinions, but I think they all secretly, not so secretly, thought that I was crazy because it was a crazy move. And they were like, you did what now, huh? And so, but they were very encouraging because obviously it was too late. And so they kind of helped me, and they're like helping me figure out what I was looking for and how I could say it better. Okay, I'm editing this video and I have to pop in because I looked up the copyright rules and I don't think I'm allowed to share the other designs. There were almost 60 designs total, and some of them were terrifyingly bad. Like they had nothing to do with my genre or even to do with my character. There was one that had red hair and blue eyes, and that's not how I described Ari to them at all. And there were others that looked like romance novel covers, or one looked kind of like nonfiction almost, and some looked like urban fantasy with almost like a vampire flair. And so it was just very, very not my book. I would say the majority were 50% right. They got some things right, but they got most of it wrong. And so I was getting really, really worried. Anyway, I just had to pop in and tell you that because I can't show you the pictures, but I can show you the winning design. So let's go to that next. All right, and then this design came in, and I'm going to finally get to my computer screen and show you, because it will only let me show you on the website at this point. Now that the contest is closed, it only lets me show you the finalists and the winner. Right here. This is my screen. You can see that is my brief right here on the left, and then we are in the designs tab, and there's other options in there. And so this is the winning design, which obviously I have showed it to you guys now. I'm gonna scroll down here to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 entries, and I can't believe there are only 6. At the time, in my panic and my freaking out over the last few days, it has felt like there were a million. So if I scroll back up to the top here, there were 56 entries total, but there were also some in the trash. Okay, there's 56 entries total. I don't think I mentioned this, but the contest is, I guess, 3 or 4 days. I can't remember, but it started with a countdown, and I was immediately like, what? What have I signed up for? I didn't know about that. And so that freaked me out, but I'm actually glad that it moved at this fast pace because there was less waiting around and wondering. With my previous cover designers, I just remember being like, I might hear back in a week. With one of them, it might be a month, it might be longer, not fun. So let's start with this very first one. I'm gonna pop it up on the screen here. One thing I loved about this designer is that they did both the thumbnail, the smaller, and then they did a bigger version for every single one of the photos. So it gave me the ability to see the photo as a thumbnail, and I'll show you why that's important again in a second, but the short version is that a lot of readers won't click on it to see it bigger. Most readers are shopping online these days, so the thumbnail is all they see, unless it's good enough to make them click on it and want to see more. So I always tell other authors to look at the thumbnail, to shrink it down and see, is the thumbnail grabbing your attention? Because that is what counts in this day and age. What they have here, I'm going to zoom in on it, is this beautiful archway, which didn't really change, this gorgeous character who is so Ari. And again, the moment that I saw this, I think I said this in my last video, but I was just like, that's the one. That's Ari right there. I love the way that she looks. She's got this innocence to her, and her face is like scared, which is so fitting for the book, but it's also kind of brave. It's like, I'm scared, but I'm going to be confident, and like that everything is perfect. Her age range is perfect. And some of the other designs that there were, just the ages were all over the place. The looks were all over the place. Some of them made the character look a lot more like me, very Caucasian. And I'm like, no, this is a very ethnic story. She's Persian, and that's my goal. So I really love this character. So that didn't change. The dress was perfect. That didn't change. The title font, we'll get into that in a second, but I was really into this more straightforward title, and I really loved the way that it was like golden and it looked like it was gilded, I think is the word. I don't know. And there was already this beautiful sunspot here and this beautiful sunspot there. And the castle, in my opinion, is gorgeous. My hubby immediately was like, that's not very Persian. And I was like, that's very true. So something we need to look at. How much better can it get? Like, this is amazing. I truly was like thinking this was it. Honestly, I looked at it and I was like, okay, I'm on board. Let's do it. All right, so here's the next design. I'm gonna zoom in again. So the main change here is actually just the castle. And I had given them that initial feedback. I was like, the one thing that I can see we would change is that the castle's not super Persian. And I also suggested maybe making the face a little bit more drawn. Not the face, but the whole thing, because you'll notice that in YA Fantasy, there's this drawn effect. So I'm gonna scoot back. This is the very, very first one. You'll notice it's a bit more crisp and clear in real life. And then this is the more drawn one. And so I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool. But I kind of missed this more crispy version, but I was like, got to do what the genre calls for. Then I started asking my friends for help. I was like, what do I do, guys? What do I do? I don't know. The second change, and I think they did this one at the very same time, no, right after, was this cover. So the first thing you'll notice here is that the font is more swirly. That was actually the designer's idea. I'm going to do the zoomed in version right here, and you can see how gorgeous this is. It's got this really beautiful swirly, it kind of matches the old cover. But I was kind of attached to the more straighter font originally. That's another story, we'll get into that. And I was just like, oh, I don't know how I feel about the swirlies, but I do like these swirlies. So if you'll notice, all along around her dress is all this kind of smoky stuff. And that's what I call the swirlies. And all my comments to the designer, I just call them swirlies because I'm weird like that. And it's just very magical looking. And that was my request, to make it more magical to fit in with the genre. I was like, I don't totally know what to ask for, but I just know that right now, I'm gonna go back one and show you on this cover right here. I said, I don't know what it is. There's a teeny bit of, I think I said romance vibe at one point. And then when I talked to the cover designer, I said, it's almost like historical fantasy or historical romance kind of vibe, because it's a little bit too real life-like. And so then that led to this one that I just showed you with all that magical flair around her dress and a bit more of the fantasy-like font, which again, I wasn't convinced about at first, but I later on did a poll in a couple Facebook groups that I'm a part of with other authors, and they all voted for this font. So I just wanted to mention that because it's going to be important in a second, because you'll see here, I had them go back to this straight font, which is more like, it's more, I thought it blended in more with my genre. And I did a little bit of what I call the thumbnail test with this one, I believe. And what I did, the thumbnail test is where you take your genre on something like Amazon, usually is the easiest, and you shrink your book down to a thumbnail. And then the way that I do it is I put that thumbnail over the Amazon page, so it's the same size as the books around it, and then I scroll through that category, and I actually like look at it next to all the other books, and I'm like, does this fit in with this category? Does it actually work? I can't tell until I try it. That really gave me a visual for, yes, we're on the right track. I remember I was asking for a lot of help. So I was talking to Brittany and Mandy and Jessie. They were giving me tons of feedback. Mandy, again, is a cover designer. So she was like, yes, I'll help you. Let's figure this out. And she, by the way, I should have said this sooner, she's still going to do my wrap for the book, because this is just the ebook, and then she's also going to do my audiobook and my vision for hardcovers and books 2, 3, and 4 in the series, which I still have to figure out with her. As soon as she gets back from her cruise, which by the time this video goes live, she probably will be back, but when I'm filming it, she hasn't left yet. And so she and I are gonna scheme, and she is on board with making a really cool matching set of character covers, and we're gonna focus on the characters. And so I should have mentioned that sooner. Mandy is amazing, and I want her to help me continue this vision. But when we look at this, we were all like, it's missing something. It's still not quite fantasy, right? And so there were just tiny, tiny details that we tweaked. So I sent tons of feedback, like for example, can we make the right here on the left side, can we pop it over and make it all in order? So that was the first change here. And then I remember I was really, really asking for help at this point. This is, I think, when I posted it in the Facebook groups, and I got about maybe 30 other authors helping me, giving opinions and advice. They were saying things like, it needs to be brighter and more vibrant and have more saturation. And I shared the swirly title, and then I shared this title, and almost everybody, there were like 18 votes for the swirly title and 6 votes for this title that was more solid. So I was like, okay, that's a sign. There was one more. I had them also vote on this one. And so I had them the designer put in the tagline, because I realized, I was like, hey, I was too excited before, I didn't even catch that we don't have the tagline on the cover yet. Let's get the tagline on there. So we added the tagline. I don't think I pointed this out, but they added this really cool castle that is perfect. It is that really perfect in-between mix that just fits the story. It's not as European looking, and so, but it's not like the Taj Mahal either. It's like its own unique thing, which I really, really love. And it looks more drawn, which I think they made it that way. I think they added that effect to it. And so this castle was an addition. And then, like I said, the tagline was added on. And they added this swirly effect along the bottom here. So we were continuing to go more magic, more magic, more magic, but we were struggling. So it was actually this one and the swirly one that I had people vote on. And I said, help me out, guys. What can make it more magical? Because this is really magical to me, but when you zoom out to the thumbnail, which I will do, it still isn't saying magic. It's still saying more romance novel. And I was like, why? Somebody help me. I don't know the elements that I need. And so I got a lot of cool feedback from people on tons of things, on placement of title, on being able to read that tagline better. And specifically, a lot of people said, up the saturation, add more of the swirlies, add more of the unreal elements, the stuff that doesn't look like real life, and make it look less real life. So that leads to this one right here. This is the final cover. You can see how the colors just pop, and it's not totally real life looking. And you can also see now the swirlies, they're really starting to stand out because the designer put more of them in. They put some in with like an unnatural yellow color. I'm gonna zoom in and show you. I'm gonna actually go down to zoom right in like this. So this can show you how they added these swirlies that have like an orangish flare to them, and they added more along the bottom and the sides. They brought back the swirly font title that I told you guys about that does make it look more fantasy. And then of course they fixed the, so it's now over the top. They added that pop of color. So now it's not just the dress that pops, but the background really pops too. And it looks very, very like saturated and bright. And then they fixed the tagline font so that it now is more readable and it just is very clear. I love how you can switch back and forth and just see the difference here. And so it's not that this tagline wasn't good, because I actually liked the font chosen here, but it wasn't as readable as this. And then you can see how much brighter it is and how much it pops. And then now I did the thumbnail test again. So I'm gonna pop that on the screen and I'm gonna show you how I shrink it down to the thumbnail size and I place it next to the other books in that specific category. Because remember, my ultimate goal, I didn't want to just be like, hey, it's a beautiful cover, good to go. It is beautiful, but does it fit with my genre? Does it fit my goal of rebranding to fit even better? And you can see as I scroll through this, there's ones where it's right next to a princess and it just perfectly blends in. All these princess books have this archway. All the princess books have the character have sort of highlight behind them, which I forgot to mention, we added that too. They all have a little bit of a magical feel if they have magic, and they all have these swirlies to them, including in the titles. All have slightly oversaturated covers. I can't stop smiling. I'm so excited about it right now, you guys. So this is my cover. It is so beautiful. Like I said in my last video, I'm in the planning stages for how to even use it, because if you upload a new cover and you have other books in the series, you want them to always match. So I think the next step is going to be working with Mandy, and she said that she's ready to work with me as soon as she gets back from the cruise, because I think I'm gonna wanna just dive into it right away, and we're gonna work on the next covers. So give this video a thumbs up if you wanna see those next covers and you want more cover reveals. And I'm thinking that I'm gonna start with the ebook, and that's going to be the very first thing that I do. Then Mandy and I have discussed doing the hardcover. So we want to actually make hardcovers for the first time. And she's done hardcovers before, so she knows how to do it. Thank goodness, because I've never done it before. And so she's gonna help me design a full wrap. And I've never had that before. I'm very excited. And so we're gonna work together on that next. And then my next vision, oh shoot, I forgot to mention audiobooks. We're going to work on audiobooks as well, because you guys know I have an audiobook coming out and I want this character to be on the front cover. And so my hope is that we can get the other covers done so that it's a seamless, at least with the ebooks, they all match for the ebooks. And then the audiobook can match the ebook as well. And so then I'll go into hardcover. That's the order: ebooks, audiobook, hardcover. And then last but not least, I am going to change the paperbacks eventually. And so I am contemplating the idea of keeping the paperbacks and finishing out the series with paperbacks. I know that'd be kind of weird, but I want them to have that continuity, and I really would like you guys to have the opportunity to still get a matching set. And then I'm contemplating the idea of that might be too crazy on Amazon, so maybe I will do that on my website. One of my patrons suggested that. What is the word for when a cover is exclusive and it's not something you can find? Oh, collector's edition. Okay, that's what I was trying to say. I was thinking to possibly do finish out the paperbacks, not on Amazon or any of the other retailers, because that's a lot of ISBNs to pay for, but it's also gonna look kind of cluttered on Amazon and confuse new readers. But for any current readers who want to finish out the series and get all the paperbacks, I could do collector's editions of the paperback. So that's an idea. I'm not committed to it yet because it would be more expensive. And then I've also considered the idea of making posters of some kind. And so this is all off the top of my head. I'm still figuring it out. I'm in day 2 or 3 of the marketing plan for this rebrand. So bear with me as I figure it out, and I would love, love, love to hear your ideas. If you know things that other authors have done that you enjoyed, pop them in the comments for me. Let me know if you want me to bring you along in this journey, kind of like a vlog of the rebrand. And I'd be happy to share with you because it's brand new to me and I'm having a blast. This is so much fun. This is messy action at its finest for you guys. I can't stop smiling. I'm just gonna pop my cover on the screen one more time for you just to finish out this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you like the new cover, let me know in the comments because I am really, really excited about it and just about where this series is going. I have so many dreams and visions and hopes for it, but it all depends on you guys and if you like it, so let me know. And I just really appreciate you guys. I just want to say thank you so much for all your kind words and for always supporting me and for being excited with me. It means so much to me. You have no idea. I hope you have an amazing day and an amazing week, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye!